So my question was about your New Year's resolutions. So some people perhaps over Christmas might be lucky enough to get a new mobile phone from Santa, and they might be hoping that it doesn't get stolen from them in a city where increasingly theft feels like it's been legalized. Do you have a New Year's resolution to get a grip of that problem?
So I think there's a question later on specifically on this. Personal robbery and personal theft is traumatic for the victims, and particularly with a mobile phone, which has a lot of personal data on it. We have unfortunately seen an increase in both personal theft of mobile phones and personal robbery of mobile phones across the country, across Europe, and that doesn't exclude London. So we've set out a number of things to address this issue. In answer to the question from Soma Desire, set out the changes in the new Met for London plan to tackle these hotspots where we know, I'm afraid, perpetrators target people using their phones as they are entitled to do. So in addition to enforcement, there is some potential good news in relation to prevention. He'll remember, he's a similar age to me, a bit younger, but the theft of stereos from the theft from stereos in cars used to be a common thing 20, 30 years ago. We designed that out by just putting them into the dashboard. Similarly, in other issues to do with, as ink on cash in banks, ink on clothes. We're asking phone manufacturers to have a kill switch. So if a phone is stolen, it's of no value to the person who steals it. So that's some of the stuff we're doing around prevention. But he's right, we need to do more enforcement as well.
Which was sort of my question. So do you have a New Year's resolution to do more on that? And if so, what? Because obviously yesterday you published your new police and crime plan, which is not just for the coming year, but for the rest of your term. And there's really nothing in it about mobile phones. I've got it in front of me here. It basically says it's essentially a steady state, continue as we are, and maybe ask some other people, phone manufacturers, to do some things which are unspecified. What are you actually doing to get a grip? Because in any case, sometimes these are stolen for parts. So even if it's even if the software is disabled, the parts still have a value.
He's right. We've had examples of parts being sent to other parts of the world, not just in this country, and that's why it's really important to work with the manufacturers in relation to making those parts useless. I mentioned the issue of ink in relation to clothes and cash. There's no reason at all why manufacturers can't be using similar things in relation to phones. So he'll be aware that the main way phones are stolen is a combination of personal theft and personal robbery. So there is a lot in the police and crime plan around public protection, a lot in relation to how we reduce robbery. He'll be aware of this year the launch of the robbery reduction team. That includes partners working with us, the design of the public realm, very important in relation to where these thefts and robberies are taking place, better areas, less crime. Working with those in the business community, really important as well as enforcement. So we now have the data and Chief Scientific Officer who helps the Met Police Service use the data to make sure the police are targeting those areas where we know in the past there's been personal theft and personal robbery. We know, I'm afraid, the biggest age group who are victims of phone theft are young people. So working with schools is really important as well.
Sorry, no, so all of these are things that you're doing. Is anything, please don't give me a lengthy list of things you're already doing. What new things might you be doing next year? Rather, because we know that the things that you're doing now aren't working, because that's brought us to the point that we're at. So what new things might you be doing in the new year in your new crime plan?
Well, let me answer directly. So a new thing we'll be doing next year is meeting with the Home Secretary and the phone manufacturers about them doing a new thing, which is putting a kill switch on their phones. Another new thing we'll be asking the phone manufacturers.
That's the thing that you're asking them to do. It's not a thing that you're doing, is it? Okay, well, let me say, to me that feels like a lot of vague waffle, but I hope Londoners will form their own view on the results. I suppose we will see what they are in due course.